Hi, and welcome back to It's Never Too Late to Date. We are the channel about dating and relationships after the age of 60. And today is our Saturday morning question of the week. And I like to start off with first the success story of the week. I love to do that because I do feel like dating at this age is definitely possible. And I want all of you to hear all the success stories out there that I can find to help you all be encouraged. So here we go. I met a man on Facebook and we are 72 and 73 years old. We have been dating for 6 months now and we are happy with each other. We are both married. We were both married for 40 plus years and we are now widows. So don't give up on love. It's never too late to fall in love. I think that's awesome. So both of them now 72 and 73 years old. I've gotten a lot of comments from people saying, oh, I'm 70, it's too late, or I'm over 70, or I'm in my late 60s. It's too late for me to meet anybody. And I don't believe it ever is. I mean, there's always somebody that you could meet that is looking for you. So have to keep that in mind as you're out there. And if you are happy being alone, like I've said before, then that is awesome as well. But if you would like to meet somebody, it is definitely possible. All right, so now we're going to go to our question of the week. And it's a little long, and I am going to be reading it. So usually when I'm reading it, I sometimes will, mess up the words. But anyway, one of the videos that I did in the past talked about the pros and cons of dating after the age of 60. And so this question was based on one of the cons. And it says a con in dating a guy after this age is my guy had three unmarried daughters who use their dad and are disrespectful to this lady friend. And she's talking about herself. I'm a threat to them. He has three grands that he loves very much. He has been a widower for over 12 years. We were planning on marriage, but now it has changed, and I believe it was due to them in his ear. It is a long distance relationship. He needed me after he got sick home out of the hospital. He sent for me, and I went and stayed with them for a month. All hell broke loose. Even though he appreciated me being there, they did not, but they could not be available to help him, so it was good that I was there. Um, give me your feedback. He has not called or texted in a while, so she's back home now, and I was the last person to text, and he responded, and that was it. Now I've decided to cut it off, and I am not going to chase him. Okay, so there's a couple things in here. So, we talk about dating after this age and how things have changed from when we were younger. And one of the things is when you're younger, you have parents to deal with. When you're meeting your, future husband, your boyfriends, or whatever, you're always wanting your parents to be okay with that person and like that person. And now, as we get older, most of our parents are gone. Not all, but most of our parents are gone. And so we are dealing with our adult children. And I have that. I have three girls and I have five grandkids. David has two girls and three grandkids, and so everybody's in the mix. And I think at the beginning it was a little bit hard for my daughters over that. Even though they're older, they always had this idea in their mind of having their parents together, having family dinners, grandparents, everybody together for the rest of their lives, and then going, them becoming the older. There's you've got an idea that it sounds comforting. But things changed, and so when we went through a divorce, and then their dad actually got remarried, and so then things settled down a little bit after that. But it's still an adjustment, and it's been our divorce became final back in 2013, so it's been a while. But it was just events that were happening. My first granddaughter was being born, and so there was a bunch of things going on that the kids were feeling like, well, we wanted things to be kind of like the normal happy long-term family thing. So but anyway, one of the things is as we get older, we need to make choices that are good for us. And we try to include everybody, but the choices need to be ultimately good for us. Everybody else seems to adjust, and now everybody's adjusted, and it's all good. And David's quite involved in my family. I'm quite involved in his. We don't, but we do have our lines of how we deal with our kids. He asked me for my opinion when he's going through something with his girls, and I do the same with him, but we don't get into each other's emotional kid lives like that. I'm not their mother, he's not my girl's dad, and if they were babies when this all happened and they grew up with him as a stepdad long term, then that would be a little different. But now you have to, as the adult, make a decision as far as what you need in your life. And then as the kids, as your relationship forms, determine who is going to be, you stay out of each other's business for one thing, unless they ask you, and I do have David's daughter, one of his daughters will call me periodically for my advice because their mom is no longer alive. All right, so that's the first thing as far as dealing with adult kids. And as I mentioned, you've got to decide, what you want for your life, what's going to make you happy. Your kids now have their own life, unless they live in the house with you, and even then, they're an adult. And so you have that talk with them, and as long as the person you're bringing into the family is not any harm to anyone, they're not abusive to you, and they have respect for your kids, then you know things can work. And your kids have to, to say it, they have to grow up and want you to be happy as the adult. And so now, if my kids were, totally against David and I getting together and all that, to me, it would matter, but we would work through it. Okay, I would not let that keep me from, being with somebody that I loved. So now it sounds like these three unmarried daughters. She said that he had um, he's given stuff to each one of them. He takes care of them, and I think that he feels, or she feels like, he gives them a lot, and the daughters probably figure out if some woman comes into the picture, then the dad's not going to be available for them. And he's been widowed for 12 years, so they've had 12 years to kind of maneuver themselves into his life. When there's any kind of money involved or future money involved, a lot of times the kids think they're going to miss out on something if somebody else comes into the picture. And so whether this is the case here or not, it just sounds like the girls did not like this woman coming into the home. And I'm sure they were glad that they didn't have to take care of him when he was sick because they didn't have the time. But at the same time, I'm sure they would, they don't want her around otherwise. And it being a long distance relationship, also, they can work, but if you've got all these other things going on, it's going to be difficult when and she's not there to get to know them so that they can get to know who she is and that he's there because the dad wants her there. So then the other thing is, too, as I mentioned before, if my kids did not, like David or want David around, I would I would support my kids, tell them I understand what you're going through. And he's not your dad. He's not trying to be your dad, but you guys are grown kids. You have your own lives, your own kids, and I'm still there as your mom and as the grandma. And so I do spend a lot of time with my grandkids and my kids, and I keep that up. And David doesn't get in the way of me doing that, and I don't get in the way of him doing that with his girls as well. And when any of that starts happening, where you feel like, or your kids feel like they don't have your time anymore or your attention anymore, then that's when it can become a problem. And so we try to keep things as balanced as possible and show the kids that we are, both there. We go to all the family events, birthdays. My ex comes with his new wife, and then same thing up at David's before his ex-wife passed away, same thing. We were all involved with the kids' events, and I think that they all saw that. Oh, okay, these guys are getting along, so we can deal with it too. So anyway, that was it's worked for us, and so basically at the end she says, she wanted my feedback, but it sounds like she has already made the decision, and you just have to go by your gut. In all of these things of the heart, it's all in here. You know what your decision should be on a situation. And this dad, if he really wanted her in his life, he would tell the girls, in no uncertain terms, you got to mind your own business. I am happy here with her, and I want you guys to get to know her and be happy with her as well. But if he's not willing to do that, then she doesn't have a chance. So, and why fight a battle at this age? There are plenty of other people out there, and she may not feel that way. And that's why I think sometimes at this age we make decisions that are not necessarily smart because we figure, oh, we got one. This might be the only one out here for us or for me, and it's you can't look at it that way. Either you if it's a bad situation, you got to let it go. So she's made a good choice here. And she said he has not called or texted in a while, and when she texted, he'll communicate, but that's it. So she just needs to let it go. And same thing, we talk about long distance relationships. They can work at this age if both of you are free to maneuver back and forth to see each other. And sometimes those are the perfect kind of relationships. If you're independent, he's independent, and you've got a life. Each of you have a life that you enjoy, and you have a community of people that you enjoy being with, then and you have the means to travel to see each other on a good time, enough to where you're established a relationship that you have fun together and enjoy each other's company, then that can work. But if not, and you're only seeing each other once every few months or so, I mean, it just depends. If both of you are okay with that, then it can work. But it all depends on what you want, and so you have to decide what am I looking for in a relationship, and what are the parameters that I want? Do I want somebody with that I can spend time with all the time, that I can call, go out to dinner? Can I? And if it doesn't fit into that, then keep looking. You've got to figure out what you want. If you're not finding it, then keep looking. All right. Thank you for joining me again for our Saturday morning question of the week. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I always say that. So, anyway, I'll see you next time.